Hello and welcome back to the boatyard, where I'm taking advantage of a mostly sunny day, though there are a few ominous clouds around and there clearly has been some rain. I thought it might be a good opportunity to just do a couple of quick bits on Twiggy here. Today I think I'm going to remove the old leisure batteries. There are 3 of them, 2 of one size and 1 of another, and they're not doing anything and they might as well come out. I can get rid of them and take the solar charge controller out, clear that whole space under the sink where ultimately the water tank will go. There are the batteries, inexplicably under the sink. Little solar charge controller. Just a matter of unscrewing everything and taking it out, I think, and not dropping a spanner across the terminals. I can't help but notice there's not a great degree of isolation between these when I take them off, particularly the terminals to the battery there. However, let us gingerly unscrew. Oh, we don't want that falling off and touching the one next to it. This is terrible. There we go, like a surgeon cutting for the very first time. Right, that is a battery negative, so I want to be careful where I put that. Famous last words. Let's just pop it there for a second. Let's take a battery positive off. Also carefully. There we go. Now we don't want those touching, so let's put them a little way apart from each other. On the other side of this bit of fiberglass, that's a good idea. That's the solar panels. That's solar negative. Go out there. Solar positive, which can go somewhere else. Let's put all the positives down in there, even if they relate to different things. Right, good. What do I want to do next? Now, that is connected via a very small bolt to the battery there, so I need a small spanner. Right, that's the solar disconnected from there. I will also take it off the red terminal. Yes. I hate doing these, I really do. I don't like batteries. Oh, these bolts are very, very tight. Okay. Solar wiring off. Which end shall I start from? Where's that? Oh, that's from the fuse box out to the electronics in the cupboard. That's obviously now no longer powered, is it? No, it is, because it's got nothing to do with the solar. That is live. Let us remember, things are live, unless otherwise. So that is live. No, actually, it probably isn't live, because that switch is off, isn't it? That switch being off means that's not live. That's reassuring. So that's the red feed to all the switches and things. Pop that there. That's the actual red feed from the batteries via this switch. One of those, which has an inline fuse on it as well, which is nice. Not in a very convenient location for getting a spanner onto it. Right, that's a live red off the battery, so I'll just pop it there. There we go. Solar thing is down there. Eco-worthy, it says. I don't know if Eco-worthy is a good brand or just a rebadged stuff or whatever. It doesn't help that I've left all my screwdrivers, well, all bar about 2, on gentian. Would have been useful to have those. There we go. Anyone know if these are any good? Let's gingerly take the red cables off. You never know whether the sink is going to be somehow grounded to the earth, but I don't think it is. I think it's separate. You know, it's turning, but I get the impression the entire bolt is turning, rather than just the nut. That's annoying. Oh my! That battery negative just came off. Just pulled off as I brushed past it. That's dodgy as heck. Oh dear. Dear, oh dear. That's very bad. Right. Well, before we go any further, I'll remove that end of that so it's not flying around. No wonder the solar control was showing errors. I think I've got the same problem on this one, that it's not unscrewing. Right, I don't know how this comes off. Let's put that down gingerly and work this out. After a lot of turning, the bolt came off, the cable is free. Look at that! I mean, look at that! It just fell off the terminal. Right, that's a red terminal off. Carefully down with that, down amongst the reds. Yeah, that's fine, that can sit there. Sit, stay. Good terminal. Now, that means that battery is actually now disconnected from the other, so if I can get that out, I can finish getting that cable off with the battery out. How is that? That's just held with blue strapping. The other end of the blue strapping, oh, there we go. I should be able to pull that out. Okay, the batteries are no longer held down, so in theory that should just, yeah, that's free, isn't it? I'm in a bit of an awkward position to get that out, so I may have to move you. Oh God. Oh, the lip on the battery. Oh no, I'm gonna have to take the wood off. Oh blast. It does make sense. The batteries are clearly very well held down, which is what you want for your boat safety. But there's a little lip at the bottom of the battery, which means I can't lift it straight out because it's coming into contact with the wood frame. So I'm going to have to attack the wood frame somehow. And I think that's been effectively super glued and foam glued into place. Foam, however, is very easy to cut. As I look at this, you've got screws there holding these bits in, and then there's another one under here holding this bit in, and this bit is what's catching on the battery. And there's probably the same again at the other end. That's going to be fiddly to get to. Oh dear. These things are sent to try us, and try us they do. Aha! Yeah, there must be something at the other end. Yep, the same again the other end. However, I could just be brutal, couldn't I? Yep. Oh, there we go. Right, that battery is now free. Huzzah! Renault Nissan 60 amp hour.
Let's see why I couldn't get this bolt off. Something's rotating underneath, which isn't helpful. Well, no wonder I couldn't get this nut off, because while these two bolts are big enough that they won't turn underneath, this third bolt is small enough that it will actually turn just about within its space. So I couldn't get this undone. It looks like it shouldn't, but it has been. And that is the first battery out. I'm probably just going to assume from the outset that these are old and shot. I don't really have a use for them. I suppose I could use one in the back to drive the bilge pump. 2 remain, so I shall repeat that process by and large, and then take all this wooden frame out and the fuse holder over there and everything, and just clear this area up. I've just discovered what it was that black cable, this one, the one that just came off, I've just discovered what that was attached to. That's the other, that was just straight out of that. Now I was pondering whether or not to keep some of these cables for reuse, but I think based on the quality of that crimping, no. It just gets worse, and I don't know, it's a very dark, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but I just released this cable and began to move it around out the way. Notice how the entire, look, this whole thing, I just take that off. It's supposed to be bolted onto the battery terminal. It just lifted straight off. Gee, I'm amazed this thing hasn't gone up in flames. Done. 3 batteries out, all ready to be taken to the tip. Yes, I know you can occasionally get people to buy them off you for the lead content, but I don't know anyone who does that round here. So honestly, the tip will be the simpler solution. And now I just need to take all this woodwork out and that little fuse holder, which I will reuse. I have a feeling a bit of wanton destruction may be called for here. I can just rip this stuff off. If that's just how this is fastened down, which I think it is, I can see no, that's clear under there. They haven't bolted into the stringer. Just foam, I think. So you'd think it would just lift straight off, but it seems to be quite well stuck down. I could leave that platform for the water bottles. Actually, couldn't I? I could take this bit off and leave that for the water bottles. Maybe I'll do that. I'll keep taking this off. So how is that fastened to that? Oh, there's a screw underneath. Of course there is. They've put it in as one piece, so the whole thing is going to have to come out because I can't get to that screw. Okay. Alarming noise. Oh, okay, that's going to be difficult. I may need to take that out. That is going to be obstructing that, which is not good. How's that going? Yay! There we go. There we go. Not as much foam as I thought. Good, that's why I could get it up so easily. Well, this has been a very pleasing and satisfying morning. That is all clear. I'm just a little bit unhappy that I didn't this time bring my vacuum cleaner because I've got all this mess to deal with. I think I've got a dustpan and brush somewhere. There is some stuff here I will reuse, I think. These little corner bits to make the wood frame I'll probably reuse. This, which the battery strap went round, I will reuse. I will reuse the battery strap for the new battery. Solar controller, not sure about. I don't know if it's any good or if it has a lithium setting, but in fact, what am I talking about? I actually bought a dedicated new solar controller for this boat, which I've had in a cupboard for a while. The wiring, that is all going to be scrapped. I might remake use of this thermal cutout fuse thing. And the fuse board off the board I will use as well. The rest of it's going to scrap.
It is now just 2 o'clock, which is not late in the day, and I did start late as well. I am not a morning person at all. However, I need to see a man about a solar panel at 3 o'clock, so it's really not worth me starting anything new on the boat, I don't think, especially as I now want to stop for a minute and have my sandwich. So I'm going to call it a day. I think that was a useful thing done, the removal of the batteries, and I will regard that as today's useful task done, plus going to see the man about the solar panel, and then on my way home I will stop in at the refuse place and drop off those batteries and odd bits of wiring that I don't want anymore. And that, I think, is a good day done. Slow but sure. The tortoise and the hare and all that kind of nonsense. I am very much a tortoise.